Nobody expected the most respected coach in women's basketball to lose everything in a single moment of rage. Cheryl Reeve, the architect of championship dynasties and the voice of authority that commanded respect across the WNBA, now finds herself facing the ultimate consequence that could end her legendary career forever. The confrontation that started as competitive intensity between coach and player escalated into something that shook the foundations of professional women's basketball when heated words turned into something far more serious. Witnesses stood frozen as decades of coaching excellence crumbled in real time. What could drive a Hall of Fame coach to risk everything she had built? The aftermath of this explosion threatens to change how we view coaching authority and player relationships in women's professional sports. Cheryl Reeve's legendary coaching dynasty. Cheryl Reeve stands as one of the most accomplished coaches in WNBA history, having transformed the Minnesota Lynx into the most dominant franchise of the 2000-foot S10s. Her coaching resume reads like a basketball masterpiece, with 4 WNBA championships captured in 2011, 2013, 2015, and 2017. Under Reeve's leadership, the Lynx became synonymous with championship excellence, featuring legendary players like Maya Moore, Sylvia Fowles, and Lynn C. Her teams were known for suffocating defense, unselfish ball movement, and an ability to perform in the most pressure-packed moments of playoff basketball. Reeve's career regular season record exceeds 300 victories with a winning percentage above 60%, one of the winningest coaches in WNBA history. She has been named WNBA Coach of the Year multiple times and is widely regarded as one of the most innovative tactical minds in women's basketball. Beyond the WNBA, Reeve has coached USA basketball teams to international gold medals, establishing herself as a respected voice in global women's basketball. Her coaching tree includes numerous assistants who have gone on to successful coaching careers of their own. The respect Reeve commands throughout the basketball world made any potential disciplinary action particularly shocking, as she has been viewed as a pillar of professionalism and excellence throughout her coaching career. The reality of WNBA coaching standards. The WNBA maintains strict conduct policies for coaches that address professional behavior expectations toward players, officials, media, and all participants in league activities. These standards recognize the significant influence coaches wield while establishing clear boundaries for acceptable behavior. League disciplinary measures for coaching violations include a progressive system of fines, suspensions, mandatory counseling, and in extreme cases permanent bans from league participation. The severity of consequences corresponds directly to the nature and impact of violations. Coaching conduct policies specifically address interactions with players, requiring professional communication and behavior that maintains appropriate boundaries while allowing for the intensity and passion that characterize competitive basketball coaching. The league's collective bargaining agreement with coaches includes detailed procedures for investigating conduct violations, ensuring due process rights, and providing appeal mechanisms while protecting the league's ability to maintain professional standards. Questions arise about what circumstances might escalate normal coaching intensity into territory that violates league conduct standards, and how such situations are evaluated by league officials responsible for maintaining professional environments. Caitlin Clark's unprecedented WNBA presence. Caitlin Clark's rookie season created unique dynamics throughout the WNBA that affected coaching approaches, media attention, and competitive intensity in ways that the league had never previously experienced. With any single player, Clark's games consistently drew television audiences exceeding 1 million viewers, with some matchups reaching over 2 million viewers, numbers that represent historic highs for women's professional basketball and create pressure situations that coaches rarely encounter. The media attention surrounding Clark means that every interaction she has with coaches, teammates, and opponents receives intense scrutiny and analysis that can amplify normal competitive moments into major storylines and public debates about coaching methods. Her competitive personality and high basketball IQ, which contributed to her college success at Iowa, require careful management from coaching staff and must balance her individual development with team chemistry and strategic requirements. The expectations surrounding Clark's performance create unique pressures for opposing coaches who face criticism when their teams struggle against her, while also needing to prepare their players for the physical and mental challenges of competing against the league's most popular player. Competitive intensity in professional coaching. Professional basketball coaching involves managing intense competitive pressure while working with elite athletes who have strong personalities and high expectations for their individual and team performance throughout demanding regular seasons and playoffs. The WNBA's competitive balance means that every game carries significant implications for playoff positioning, creating high-stress environments where coaching decisions and player management become crucial factors in team success or failure. Veteran coaches like Reeve have built their reputations on demanding excellence and maintaining championship standards that sometimes require difficult conversations and confrontational Moments with players who may not initially embrace coaching methods or strategic decisions. The modern era of professional basketball includes increased player empowerment and social media influence that has changed traditional coach-player dynamics, requiring coaches to adapt their communication styles while maintaining authority and team discipline. Sports analysts note that the intersection of competitive pressure, media attention, and interpersonal management creates situations where even experienced coaches might face challenges that test their professional boundaries and emotional regulation capabilities. Coaching elite professional athletes involves constant psychological pressure to succeed while managing complex relationships with players who have diverse motivations, career goals, and personal circumstances that affect their approach to team competition. Cheryl Reeve's sustained success over more than a decade has created enormous expectations from fans, media, and organizational leadership that contribute to ongoing stress and pressure to maintain championship-level performance year after year. The responsibility of coaching extends beyond game strategy to include player development, media relations, organizational representation, and community engagement that creates multiple sources of pressure and potential conflict throughout long seasons. Coaching burnout and stress-related behavioral issues are documented challenges in professional sports, particularly for coaches who have achieved significant success and face constant pressure to repeat championship performances. The accumulation of competitive stress can affect decision-making and emotional regulation during challenging situations, potentially leading to responses that exceed normal professional boundaries. Even among coaches with established records of appropriate behavior, conflict escalation in professional sports. Professional basketball environments can create situations where normal competitive disagreements escalate into more serious conflicts due to high-stakes, intense emotions, and the pressure cooker atmosphere of professional competition. The process by which coaching intensity crosses lines into inappropriate behavior often involves multiple factors, including accumulated stress, specific game situations, individual personality conflicts, and external pressures that contribute to emotional responses. Conflict escalation in coach-player relationships can be influenced by generational differences, communication styles, competitive philosophies, and external factors such as media attention or organizational pressure that create additional tension beyond normal basketball disagreements. The rapid pace of professional basketball seasons and the constant travel and performance pressure can contribute to situations where small conflicts compound into larger issues if not addressed promptly and appropriately. Through communication and conflict resolution, questions arise about how professional sports organizations can identify and address escalating conflicts before they reach points where serious consequences become necessary to maintain organizational standards and player safety. WNBA disciplinary procedures. The WNBA follows comprehensive procedures for investigating conduct violations that include evidence gathering, witness interviews, and review by league officials who specialize in maintaining professional standards and competitive integrity. Investigation processes typically involve multiple stages, including initial reporting, preliminary review, formal investigation with due process protections, and final determination of appropriate consequences based on established league policies and precedents. The league's approach to disciplinary matters emphasizes fairness and consistency while recognizing that each situation involves unique circumstances that require individual evaluation and consideration of all relevant factors. Legal experts note that lifetime bans represent the most severe disciplinary measure available to professional sports leagues and typically require substantial evidence of serious violations that threaten league integrity or participant safety. The appeals process for major disciplinary actions includes multiple levels of review and opportunities for affected parties to present evidence and arguments challenging league decisions through established grievance procedures. Impact on Minnesota Lynx organization. The potential loss of Cheryl Reeve would represent a devastating blow to the Minnesota Lynx organization that has built its identity and competitive strategy around her coaching philosophy and leadership approach over more than a decade. Reeve's influence extends throughout the Lynx organization, affecting player development programs, scouting approaches, team culture, and strategic planning that would require complete restructuring if her leadership were no longer available. The franchise's marketing and fan engagement strategies have been built around the championship success and coaching excellence that Reeve represents, making her potential absence a significant challenge for maintaining organizational identity and commercial success. Team chemistry and player relationships within the Lynx organization would face major adjustments if such a prominent leadership figure were removed, particularly given the circumstances that might surround such a dramatic organizational change. The Lynx would face challenges in recruiting and retaining players who have chosen to play for the organization based on Reeve's reputation and Coaching approach potentially affecting competitive positioning for years to come. Broader implications for women's basketball. A lifetime ban for such a prominent coaching figure would establish unprecedented precedents for WNBA disciplinary actions and could influence how coaching conduct is evaluated and regulated throughout women's professional basketball. The decision would send strong messages about acceptable coaching behavior and the consequences for serious violations of professional standards, potentially affecting how coaches throughout the league approach player relationships and competitive intensity. Other WNBA coaches would likely reassess their own coaching methods and communication approaches to ensure compliance with league standards, particularly in high-pressure competitive situations involving star players and media attention. The precedent could influence how other women's professional sports leagues approach similar situations and what standards they apply to coaching conduct in competitive environments involving elite athletes, and significant media coverage. Questions arise about whether such severe consequences might create overcautious coaching behavior that could reduce competitive intensity and passionate leadership that many consider essential elements of successful professional sports coaching. Media coverage and public reaction. A lifetime ban for Cheryl Reeve would generate extensive media coverage extending beyond sports outlets to include discussions about coaching authority, player protection, and professional standards in women's sports that reach mainstream audiences. Public reaction would likely be divided between those supporting strong disciplinary action for inappropriate behavior and others questioning whether competitive coaching intensity should result in career-ending consequences for respected professionals. Social media amplification would create intense debate about coaching methods, generational differences in professional sports, and the appropriate balance between competitive passion and professional conduct standards. The coverage would likely include analysis of broader trends in coaching and player relationships while examining the specific circumstances that led to such dramatic consequences for one of the sport's most respected figures. Women's basketball communities, including college coaches and players, would closely monitor the situation as it could influence perceptions of professional coaching culture and appropriate standards for competitive intensity. Legal and contractual considerations. Coaching contracts in the WNBA include specific provisions regarding conduct expectations and disciplinary procedures that provide frameworks for addressing violations while protecting coaches' rights to due process and fair treatment. The legal process for implementing lifetime bans involves extensive documentation, evidence review, and potentially arbitration or legal challenges depending on the coach's response to league decisions and the strength of evidence supporting disciplinary actions. Employment law considerations include ensuring that disciplinary actions comply with contractual obligations and legal standards while providing adequate due process protections for coaches facing career-ending consequences. The financial implications of lifetime bans include loss of salary benefits and future earning potential that could total millions of dollars over the remainder of a coaching career, requiring careful legal documentation and justification. Sports law experts note that lifetime bans must be supported by substantial evidence of serious violations to withstand potential legal challenges from affected coaches and their legal representatives seeking to preserve their professional opportunities. Alternative disciplinary approaches. Professional sports leagues often explore disciplinary measures that address serious conduct violations while providing opportunities for rehabilitation and eventual return to coaching responsibilities after appropriate consequences and remedial actions. Alternative approaches might include extended suspensions, mandatory anger management or communication training, community service requirements, and probationary periods that allow for monitoring and gradual return to full coaching responsibilities. Restorative justice principles could potentially provide frameworks for addressing harm while allowing for relationship repair and professional growth that serves both disciplinary and rehabilitative purposes. Within professional sports context, the effectiveness of different disciplinary approaches in preventing future violations while preserving valuable professional expertise represents an ongoing challenge for professional sports leagues managing conduct issues. Questions arise about whether punitive approaches alone effectively address underlying issues that contribute to inappropriate behavior or whether comprehensive interventions might better serve long-term interests of leagues, coaches, and players looking toward resolution. The resolution of high-profile disciplinary cases often influences how professional sports leagues approach coaching conduct standards and the balance between competitive intensity and professional behavior expectations. The precedents established through this situation will likely affect how future coaching conflicts are handled and what standards are applied to competitive behavior in high-pressure professional sports environments. Questions remain about how the women's basketball community will respond to such dramatic consequences and whether the outcome will strengthen or complicate relationships between coaches and players throughout the league. The broader Implications include potential changes in coaching education, conflict resolution procedures, and professional development programs designed to help coaches navigate the complex dynamics of modern professional sports. The future of coaching in women's professional basketball may be influenced by how this situation is resolved and what lessons are learned about maintaining competitive excellence while ensuring professional standards and respectful relationships between all participants. If you're shocked by these potential developments as we are, go ahead and like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think competitive coaching intensity should have limits when it involves player conflicts? How should professional sports leagues balance coaching authority with player protection? We want to hear your perspective on maintaining professional standards while preserving competitive passion in women's basketball. Then hit subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss our coverage of this developing story that could reshape coaching culture in the WNBA. Thanks for watching.